What is going on? No horsing around family. Zach Boyd, Stephen Burton back at it again. Kareem Hunt will be in the building tomorrow as we record this at 9:37 Eastern time. And guys, just thought it'd be a good opportunity for me and Stephen to hop on here, kind of go back and forth a little bit and have a good discussion about, the potential of bringing Kareem Hunt in and what the implications that would be, as far as this football team. And I guess I'll just start here, Steven, what the hell's going on, man? Like, what is going on with this team right now, in particular at the running back position?
I mean, it's funny because I called you right after I got off of work. That's the question I asked you. I called you and I was like, what's happening? I mean, normal circumstances, right? Like, let's take away, if you were to take away the trade request, the kind of the hold in a little bit with JT, and you were just looking at this with broad strokes, we don't have a lot of running backs, right? Like they're Zach Moss broke his arm, Deion Jackson, he's out. Like we don't, and we just brought in Kenyon Drake. We don't have a lot of bodies, that's one portion. But like a Kenyon Drake matches well with, hey, it's an older guy, it's a vet body. The Kareem Hunt news was interesting because I know he's kind of on that second part. He's 28 years old. He's a little old, 27, 28, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
He's a little older, but he's a dynamic name, right? Like he's a name that people know, and he's a name you're probably going to have to pay decent money for because he's sought after, which makes it strange. And then you combine it with like what we've heard of like he was in New Orleans and they were like, yeah, you need to turn around. Indy's going to pay you more. And he got on a flight to Indy today.
Yeah.
So it's weird, man.
It is weird. And so many things are weird. First of all, very rarely do you ever hear about or see about the Indianapolis Colts having a holdout at any position. It's just not something that's typically been done. Secondly, you've got a star player that's involved. He suddenly this morning, he leaves, he goes to do rehab. Shane Steichen was real murky on that. He wouldn't really say if he's there, if he's not. Doesn't seem like he's there. I'll be honest, I don't know if I even care if he's there at this point. I'm just a little bit tired of that part. But then when you circle back to Kareem Hunt, he's an interesting guy because Chris Ballard is not normally the type of guy to get into a bidding war with anybody, right? Like that's got my antennas up. That was the one thing I was thinking about, here a few minutes as I was prepping and getting ready to do this show with you. There's a reason if he's going to get in a situation where he's calling his agent and saying, no. Before you sign, put pen to paper, before you sign the dotted line, I want to let you know what are they offering and I want to up the ante. I want him in here. I want to talk to him. I want to tell him about the situation and give him an opportunity. And this is what I think Chris Ballard's probably going to do. It's the ultimate insurance plan. Don't get me wrong. Kenyon Drake has had a solid career, but I would think that Kareem Hunt would be an upgrade over that, just in my opinion. And what would be, the pitch from Chris Ballard? Well, we need a running back. We don't have one right now. So that's convenient, right? Here's your opportunity. B, you played in Cleveland in a similar situation where you had Nick Chubb, a dynamic running back, and you played behind him and you still had a fair amount of success, catching the ball and running the football. So you're used to this situation. So worst case scenario, Jonathan Taylor comes back. This doesn't take away from your opportunity. We're going to carve out a role for you to be able to use and still keep that tread on the tire. And then third, it's about the money. We could offer him, more money because we have money. Ballard never spends all of the money. And in this situation, you're in a great situation to go out and get, a veteran that could really impact the football team and just pay up and just say, you know what, I don't really like the idea of doing it, but just pay up. The last part before I turn it back over to you, what's going to be really interesting, and I'm curious of that dollar amount, and here's why. You're paying Jonathan Taylor $4.3 million this year. What is going to happen to Jonathan Taylor the moment, and I don't care if it's one penny, The moment this deal turns into 4.4, 4.5, $4.6 million, and now you're paying a running back more than your star running back's making. What in the hell is going to – I mean, if he's not already furious, which he obviously clearly is, him and his agent, what's going to happen if that happens? You know, I mean, you want to talk about fireworks. I mean, that is going to just set this thing with just a mound of gasoline on a fire that's already pretty big right now.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said too, you hope that it's one of those options where it's like, hey, because me and you were talking on the phone saying, man, what would a backfield look like that with a potential healthy with a Jonathan Taylor, a Kareem Hunt, and Anthony Richardson? Like that's a scary backfield to think about, right? I don't know. I have been steadfast, right? Me and you both have been pretty steadfast that we don't think he plays somewhere else. Today felt weird. We were at training camp on Sunday. He was there. We were looking for him. He walked right past us. He looked good. He didn't, I think I tweeted out, and so did you at one point looking at early video. He looked like he was kind of limping. He didn't look that way yesterday or on Sunday when we saw him in person. And then, we're off yesterday. Today rolls around and it's the only thing people are talking about. Hey, he's not here. Like he's not wearing in his training camp uniform of the hoodie underneath the t-shirt, right? With the hood up looking like he's disgruntled. And it was all anybody was talking about all day. So you have that. And then just randomly at the end of the day, suddenly we're going headhunting for a name at running back.
Yes.
Not just like you're not picking one up off the top of the trash heap. Now he's older, like we said, but he's a name. And I think you put a great point, right? I think it's going to be more than $4.44 million that they're going to have to pay him.
Well,
I think there's a chance that it is more than that. And what is going to happen? For anyone who's watching this, make sure you go check out. Zach did a great video talking about the JT situation going on right now. And there's a lot of conspiracy. There's a lot of stuff out there because we don't know anything. But the timing of all of this is just so odd that for the first time in this JT saga, it does have me questioning if he's going to suit up week one, if he's going to be on the Colts. And it has me starting to do a little bit more digging into. I prefer Kareem Hunt over Kenyon Drake. And one other thing you mentioned too, Ballard didn't get into bidding wars. Ballard is also, we've talked about wanting to see him change his stripes, right? Change his pattern.
Yes.
Not paying JT early is changing the pattern.
Yeah.
Kareem Hunt as a player, but also Kareem Hunt as me and you were talking about on the phone, as a man off the field is not necessarily who you see Chris Ballard tend to go after.
He's the opposite.
You even mentioned the name,
right? He's the opposite of Jonathan Taylor. As far as off field, Jonathan Taylor couldn't be more clean when it comes to the off field stuff. He never had any issues with that. Kareem Hunt, obviously, Chris Ballard has ties with the Kansas City Chiefs. That is the football team that drafted Kareem Hunt. And then
ties with the GM for the Browns that brought him down there too.
John Dorsey. The whole thing. It makes sense when it comes down to it. Now, you'd have to think at this point he's already had a conversation with Jim Irsay, and Jim Irsay would be comfortable enough with maybe making some sort of a deal with this guy, because typically speaking, domestic violence and Jim Irsay don't normally go hand in hand. It's just he hasn't had much of a history of dealing with players like that. This being said, maybe there's been a real rehabilitation, type of thing that we don't know about. Maybe he's going to trust Chris Ballard. Maybe we're desperate. Maybe we're looking for the ultimate insurance policy. And we're going to say, look, we told you already, play and then we'll pay you, but we're not trading you now. We're not trading you in October. That's the owner of the Indianapolis Colts football team's words, very vehemently saying we are not getting rid of Jonathan Taylor. And what bigger case can you say for that than going out and signing a Kareem Hunt and basically saying, we're fine with you sitting out and with you not playing. We're going to get a starter level player in here that can play this year and shoulder the burden so that we don't have to not be able to run our normal typical offense and we can actually go out there and compete and try to win football games. You know, it's going to be really hard to win football games, especially when you have a rookie quarterback to start with. When you rely on that running game so much as we do, and as most rookies should, it just takes so much pressure off of that quarterback from having to go out and throw, 40, 45 passes a game. That's just not what you want to
Mm-hmm.
happen, with a young rookie quarterback. Well, now if you got
Yeah.
a guy like a Kareem Hunt to hand the football off to, that alleviates a little bit of that. And that also is a little bit of a trump card with the Taylor camp saying, oh my gosh, these guys are serious, man. They've committed to playing with or without me. Now they'd love to have me, but at the same time, they're committed, man. I mean, they're 100% committed you know, to moving forward with this, and however long it takes, life goes on. And if for some reason Jonathan Taylor doesn't play week 1, 2, or 3, and Kareem Hunt comes out here and starts having a couple 100-yard games, multiple touchdowns, his case looks a lot weaker for signing an extension.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you're Taylor, you got to make a business decision. You're thinking to your agent, I know what you're telling me to do, but I better put my cleats on and I better go out there and play football before not only do I not lose my job, but I never get an opportunity to sign an extension, because I fully believe, Steven, and this will be my last point on this, I fully believe he will get an extension from somebody. And I do believe the Colts would be motivated to pay him. Now, maybe
Mm-hmm.
not the amount that he's asking for, but I do think that they would be fine with paying him a nice contract. But I think there's no way in the world this ever even is a possibility if he doesn't get back on the football field, because there's too much of an unknown with this ankle injury. We thought it was a high ankle sprain. Guy has a surgery in January. The normal rehab is very quick, 3-4 months. Turns out he has another ankle surgery, or allegedly. We just don't know. And that's the bad part. The Colts do such a bad job of communicating the injuries, especially in the offseason. Be nice if they just come out and said, yeah, this is what happened, man. He had ankle surgery in January. He had another one to have to get something cleaned up. We're still kind of working through the rehab process. It'd be nice if we knew that as fans, but we're just
Mm-hmm.
not going to know that, not with this organization and not the way that Chris Ballard has decided to handle injuries. We're just not going to have to deal with it. But I know it was a lot. Do you have any final thoughts before we hop off here on the Kareem Hunt topic?
I would say two things. I would say keep your ears up and your antennas up, because if he's going to sign, I think it's going to be tomorrow.
Absolutely.
With everything coming out today. And I would also, as Colts fans and talking to the No Horseman family and Colts Nation, everybody, no one is saying he's going to replace JT.
Yeah.
We're not saying, like, you as a fan, as putting the fan hat on, you're like, okay, this is a guy who he's produced at a high level before, right? You want him to do those things. By no means are we saying we don't need JT, right? No Colts fan is going to say, I don't need him, cast him to the side. Kareem Hunt's going to do all this great stuff. No one's saying that. It is a piece that you have to, at the very least, solidify the fact that you need a running back. Like, you've got to have somebody back there that you can rely on right now. And as stuff comes out, I'm sure more stuff will come out. It's like it's not, maybe not an everyday thing now, but it's still on every couple of days. New
Sure.
JT news comes out, and we learn more. The possibility of the second surgery, things like that. I would just say, just keep your head on a swivel, right?
Yeah.
Keep your head on a swivel. Keep your eyes up, because, like I said, I do think if he's going to sign with the Colts, it's going to be tomorrow. And we'll see what happens, man. By no means does it make you forget JT, but, man, it's a business, and they've made the business decision that they're not paying him. The sad thing is, and I'll end this with this, because we're not talking JT and Kareem are going to be in, it's one topic basically, right?
Yeah.
But I'll say this and then I'll be done, is that the sad thing is that I think that there should have been someone in JT's ear saying, you are going to thrive in this offense. Look at last year. Look at what he did in Philly with Miles Sanders, a not top 5 running back in the league,
Yeah.
and not top 2 running back in the league. And I also think that if he had just come in, if he's healthy, If he had come in, practiced, played, I think they would have given him an extension during the season. I
Yeah,
do.
I
I
think
think it would have happened during it, but I think there's a chance that it's irreparable. I don't know. I don't have any inside sources. Me and you don't, but we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be an exciting couple of days. I mean, Kareem Hunt, if they sign him, he will play on Saturday, I bet.
I mean, there's a chance he'll get a couple carries. You just never know how quick it'll take to get him acclimated. Conditioning would probably be the only reason I'd say that he might sit the first one out. I would think the plan, if you sign him, you'd want to be careful with that because the plan would be he would be your starter. I mean, I think there'd be no questions asked, and you wouldn't want to go out there and tweak a hamstring or anything like that. So there's a possibility that he may not play, but I think there's even a possibility that he would get on the field for that first series to be able to go out there just to kind of get the juices flowing and back in football condition. Well, guys, until next time, as always, join this No Horsing Around family if you haven't had an opportunity. We're now over 2.7K, and that's because of you. You guys are doing such a great job of just being a part of this. So interactive. I mean, we literally get new people, new comments all the time, and that's our favorite part of this. We've always said this from day one, and we mean it and we believe it. You are the people who this show is about. We're just lucky enough, Steve and I, to use our voices and be able to do this and bring you this content. And it's because of you that we're standing on the sidelines during training camp. It really is. So thank you guys so much for allowing us to do the thing that we love the most, and just interacting with you is what we do. So light us up in the comments. Let's know what you think about Kareem Hunt. You like it, hate it, love it, kind of in the middle, just let us know. And until next time, I think Steven always says this, but I think I'm going to take the opportunity to do it because I got to say it every once in a while, man. I love you. Steven loves you. I think tomorrow, possibly Kareem Hunt might even love you, depending on that contract. And guys, we are out.